All right. If you came over from the other video, then you will know that this one is about more like tips and tricks and stuff like that getting into the game. So without further ado, thank you very, very much, Inflexion, again, with having me for all the different tests and such over the long period of time that I've been helping them. And for the cool little swag box they sent me, of course. If you guys can, like, subscribe, or do whatever it is you feel like doing with any of my medias that I stream on or put videos on or whatever, I would definitely appreciate it. But getting into the tips and tricks, let's start with things like this. If you hold E on particular items, you can actually rename the items in case you want to do that with, like, keeping organized or whatever the case is there. There are certain aspects like the bedroll where you can, like, choose long rest, short rest, in multiplayer, whatever the case is, if you want to change it from that. When you make a portal and you go to spin up the cards in your portal, what you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that, well, when you spin this up, it's not going to have a name on it or anything like that. So make sure you keep in mind that whatever cards you use to do this, that you come over to the side here, you hold E and you rename it to whatever cards that you use in order to spawn that portal. It's going to be very, very important so you can keep track of what your portals are and so forth there. And of course, if you find other portals out in the world that you can't rename or anything that you want to keep track of, you can always drop a basket or something out in front and rename the basket. So keep that in mind. A big one that I see that a lot of people still don't know, obviously, at this point, and I think a lot of people would just kind of graze over, is if there's items in a vicinity around you, and instead, like, a lot of people just go around and pick them up by hitting E on them specifically. If you don't want to do that, and they're actually, like, stuff that you have laying on the ground, like these logs right here, what you can do is you just hold E. You can pretty much do it at any time, and it will pick up everything in a pretty wide vicinity around you. I mean, you can see it goes pretty far. So, very, very big tip if you don't want to go chasing down every individual item or look through the grass or whatever the case is there. As I said in the previous video as well, make sure you are claiming your challenges here. They will give you rewards as you finish them through the story, or through your play session, I should say. Of course, make sure, like I said as well, to make sure you're eating your 3 different foods or whatever it is that you have, so you have your buffs from those at all times. Of course, as you create the food, it will depend on, like, there are some different recipes and stuff that you can make that will change, like, what the food does for you. So, very important there as well. Make sure you're keeping a good amount of salve on you or something to heal you, because it will help you immensely as you're progressing through different realms. It's definitely saved me quite a few times. That would be the stuff right here. Of course, if you're looking for things like hotkeys and stuff, if you hit F1, it will show you this. This will go through your list of buttons and what they do, and simplistic sake, tell you kind of what to do with there. If you hit F2, it will actually show you a lot more information, like weather, your system's information, characters, more specific information, your locations, realm cards, so on and so forth there. Important to note that. F3 will show, like, your FPS, GPU time, frame time, game time, so on and so forth over there on the right. F4 will hide your HUD if you want to take, like, cinematic shots. F5 will actually put you into first-person mode if you have the first and third type toggled on. So you can always swap between them at any time that you want. It is also important to note that depending on where you place items like bedrolls or even your crafting stations and so forth, they will be affected by, like, inside things, outside things, closer to light. Whatever the case is, if you want to see how they are affected by different situations and so forth, you can always hold E and inspect on them. And you can see, like, this is a card that I have on the realm currently that's affecting this one. It's showing that it's well lit, so the time has decreased, but it is still exposed in this base technically currently right now. So keep that in mind when you're placing things down and such. If you leave it outside, you're not going to get as much restful sleep or whatever. So you want to make sure you try to adhere to whatever it is that you want to do with that stuff as best as possible. Of course, if you are looking to use minor realm cards, they do have a new feature now that if you go to the Realmic transmuter on your map, you can actually input a card instantaneously. If you go there with a realm card, minor realm card, you can actually put it on the realm instantaneously, and you'll see the realm spin up. A really cool effect and it will change like right before your eyes, basically. So keep in mind, like I said, those are, you know, they're only one-time use, so you'll have to find out how to make another one or find another one. You won't get it back if you change it, but it's really, really cool to see all the different effects that it can change in your worlds. They seem very minor, but a lot of them are actually pretty important. Of course, at least for my play sessions, I tend to follow the quest sets up here for doing the sites of power and such, because it's just kind of easier. But you don't have to do that. You can play however you want. There are other areas of the map, like you can see over on the side there. There's 2 other spots there that are not the sites of power and such. They're different ones, or I guess they technically are sites of power. They're just different ones. So you can always do that too. You can go do those first. You can come back. You can do them however you choose. If you are trying to build your base up and so forth there, you can do is this actually places like little ghosts forms of something. It doesn't actually take resources to do this section of it, but when you do it, you'll be able to, it lets me like place something here. Oops. Oh, I guess it would help if I did like foundation, huh? You place one down or whatnot, and your follower will actually try to fill them if they have access to a box that has that inventory in it. But you can actually just hold E on them. You can add them from your, auto add. You can do whatever you want. You can copy how it's built. But you can kind of outlay it before you put stuff in it type thing. So, pretty cool little feature there. Of course, if you're trying to harvest and so forth, like any other survival game, you do want to utilize your tools as best as possible. If you are going around just using your hands, you'll get 1 or 2 or whatever of things. But if you take your scythe or whatever and you're going to collect like stuff like this, you're going to get a lot more from them. Now this is still like an early one, so it's not too much, but you get the hint. Of course, if you go up to a resource of any kind and you don't have the proper tool on to utilize it, or if it's not leveled, if it's something that's too high, it'll have a number on there that's, obviously higher than 0. But if you equip the right tool, you will know, because I don't even have it equipped. There it is. Because it'll turn green. Now I'll be able to take away stumps and such. These will grow back over time. If you want to take care of the stumps, they don't. So you can just, hack it up and get rid of it type thing. What else? Another thing important to note if you have a follower that's helping you and such is when you go to your boxes or chests, you can click survivors for permissions. You want to be really careful with that, because if you put anything in here that is higher quality, or, let's say you go to a higher level world and you find, like better wood or whatever the case is, if they have access to that, they will use it as firewood or whatever the case is. So you want to make sure you put it in a box that they don't have permissions to. Otherwise, they'll come through and just see it as wood. As I was saying earlier too, if you want to convert stuff into essence, you can pretty much use whatever you want. One of the simpler ones to do is like a 3-to-1 ratio is making simple rocks for your sling bow. So if you find rocks, you have an abundance of them or whatnot, just, craft them up into ammo, and you'll get quite a bit from, or maybe it's 2-to-1. I can't remember. But like I said, you can pretty much use whatever you want. What is it? Fiber is another good one because you get a lot from using the scythe. What else? If you're looking to repair stuff, you will definitely need to get a hammer. And then, of course, you will have to end up... Let's see here. If I can even hit it. Maybe it won't let me. Okay, that one did. This one just being a pain in my butt. But yeah, you use a hammer, you go to a wall, typical, survival type game thing. All right, I don't remember if I actually mentioned earlier in the video or not, but one of the first things you want to do when you come into your realm is go over to the essence trader here. Like if you set up your base, like I was talking about earlier, you want to come up with the essence trader, and one of the first things you want to pick up is your umbrella, if you can, from them. It'll help you a lot with like falling off cliffs or kind of jumping or kind of getting away from things or whatever the case is there. Another little tidbit is if you're looking to build something and you want to know what the recipe is on your your little tracker over here. You can right click on the recipe and it'll track it there for you live as you're going through. I think I mentioned that there was, I don't remember if I did or not. If I didn't, there is headshot damage or multipliers and such in the game as well. Another little tidbit too is if you hit X, you'll be able to actually copy, move, remove, and so forth. The building type features. I don't think I actually mentioned that prior. And with that, I think that's about it for this video. Hopefully you got to check the other basic video out that I put up. They actually just released another video today that shows some changes and stuff that they're doing with the launch of the game that I'm going to actually kind of go over and kind of do my own little coverage of that and cover the things that they're doing. So I'll get that done tonight, as well as hopefully another character creation video, because I didn't get that one up either. Of course, the biggest tip of all is to make sure you take the time and enjoy the scenery around the game. It is truly breathtaking what they've done in the environment with this game in every realm that you go in, and all the cards change a lot of different things in the scenery and the world as well. So without anything else that I can really think off the top of my head currently for tips and tricks and ideas and such, I will get out of here. Thank you very, very much for taking your time to drop by and check them out. I appreciate if you could drop a follow or a subscribe or whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter to me. I appreciate it either way. Thank you, Inflexion Games, again, and I will see you all in the next one.